Alvin Pierman is the deep man for Tennessee. Titans looking for their third straight win. And we're underway from Nashville. Ryan Lindell kicks it off. And Pierman will take it from the 2. Pierman looks for a running lane. Attempted to get to the outside. He crosses the 20-yard line. He's caught. So Titans will open up with a 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. Nate Washington gets the call. And a flag down as Washington took it to the perimeter. Drayton Florence and Aaron Schobel combining to bring him down. Our referee today, John Parry. They are also wearing the throwback uniforms, the wide orange stripes.
There is no foul for an illegal block in the back by number 18. 2nd down.
On a 2nd and 9 for the Titans. Handed off, Chris Johnson. And Johnson is stacked up. Couldn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Paul Posluszny sniffed that one out. 3rd and long. Young fires and should have been intercepted. Corner had it on his hands. And the Titans go 3 and out on their first possession.
Boy, this is the important thing. You're Vince Young. You always have to see out in front of throws. You watch there, he never feels the corner, Reggie Corner, the nickel player, come back inside. He locks in on the receiver. That just comes with experience, but that's a ball that you think a guy like Reggie Corner can catch.
Brett Kern will punt it. He's been a good pickup, formerly of the Denver Broncos. And Fred Jackson, dangerous return man, averaging 11 yards per punt return, waits for it. Kern, a booming kick. Jackson backpedals and catches at the 22. Jackson to the outside, and Jackson is angled out of bounds as he crosses the 35-yard line. That's where the Bills will set up shop. Bills open up with a double tight end set. Fine and Nelson. Lynch is the single setback on a 1st and 10 from the 37. Edwards to throw, hit as he throws, and looking to dump it off to Marshawn Lynch. The pressure came from Vanden Bosch, and it's incomplete. Handoff to Marshawn Lynch, right up the middle, and Lynch carrying some players on his back for a 6-yard gain.
3rd down has been a problem all season long for the Buffalo Bills, Ian.
Out of the gun, it's Edwards. Set up the screen to the outside. Jackson diving forward, very close to a 1st down, and it is going to be enough. 5 yards. Keith Bullock there to touch him up, and this drive will continue for the Buffalo Bills. On a toss for Lynch. Turning the corner, and Lynch able to move it into Tennessee territory. Solid run by Lynch of 4.5 yards. Michael Griffin, first man there for Tennessee. Now, you talked about the 3rd down issues. They're ranked 30th in the NFL in 3rd down efficiency, 26%. So a good sign for this Buffalo offense to convert on its first try. And now 2nd and manageable yardage. 2nd and 5 for Edwards to work with.
Yeah, they need to do better on the early downs. They've really hurt themselves. And as Dick Duran said, we spent a lot of time during the bye week looking back, trying to find ways to jumpstart this offense.
And just even sustaining long drives. They have the fewest 10-play drives in the NFL. Edwards throws on the out route to Lee Evans. So they get Evans involved early and a 1st down. 7-yard gain through the air. Cortland Finnegan with the coverage. This is not a stat that you want to lead the NFL in.
No, it's really not, and it gets back to the early down production. They've not been good, and the other thing, as you said, the 3rd down. It's been an absolute disaster. They had an intense analysis during the bye week. They went back and looked at it. They figured out it was execution. They're not doing a good job. The other thing is Alex Van Pelt told us, the offensive coordinator, we have to do a better job coaching those particular situations.
Edwards checking off the line of scrimmage, a 1st and 10 at the Tennessee 40-yard line. Opening drive for the Bills. Handoff. The pitch to Jackson, and a zigzag to the outside. Jackson getting a block from Terrell Owens. Forced out of bounds after the 6-yard gain for Jackson. They've got talented runners. Lynch and Jackson each bring something a little different to the table. How about T.O. getting out and helping in the run?
Yeah, this is good to see. And not only that, but this guy, he's going to have to find a way to get him involved in the game early. We talked to the coaching staff. This guy still has the ability to be a difference maker, big time playmaker, but they have not done a good job early in games getting him touches.
T.O. played his college ball about 2 hours away in Chattanooga. Edwards hit as he throws, and incomplete. Unable to get it out of his hand cleanly. Good pressure up the middle from the Titans.
There you see right there, a little stunt. You see Tulloch, he's going to come late, and then right there at the top of your screen, Dave Ball, he makes the play. But I'll tell you, I really think it's important for the Buffalo Bills. They're coming off their bye week. It's important to find your rhythm early. A lot of teams struggle early off the bye. Not only that, you got a quarterback that hasn't played in a month. You got to get out of the gates early.
They'll call it 3rd and a long 3 here for Buffalo. Spread the field. Edwards, rush coming. Edwards gets rid of it and finds the open man, Steve Johnson. Johnson is ruled down, but it is enough for a first down out across the 30-yard line as Edwards took a shot from Jacob Ford on the rush.
And you're going to see the pressure come right up the side, and they're going to block him. Nice job by Trent Edwards. First of all, recognizing the unblocked man and then throwing the ball quickly out to the flat to Steve Johnson.
And for Johnson, just his 2nd catch of the season. And they'll go with a little trickery here.
Yeah, you got your quarterback right down there at the bottom of the screen, form of a Wildcat.
And it's Fred Jackson taking the direct snap. Jackson to the perimeter. And Jackson slowed down by Cortland Finnegan, then finished off by Chris Hope on the angle. It's a 2-yard gain for Jackson and the Bills. Well, offensive coordinators, to let an offensive coordinator go in the preseason, what kind of lasting effect will it have on your offense?
Well, just look right there. Look at the team's total offense where they are right now. Kansas City's 30th. You look at Tampa Bay, the 28th, and Buffalo, they're 29th. They haven't found their identity. You see Alex Van Pelt there. They put him in a very difficult situation when they made that change so late in training camp.
Wildcat again. Jackson wants to throw it. Jackson wide open. Touchdown. Lee Evans. Bills go into their bag of tricks, and they get on the board first.
And that's what you have to be careful of coming off the bye week. Teams have extra time to prepare. When you looked at this team in the Wildcat, all they did was run the ball. And now all of a sudden they come off the bye. You see Fred Jackson, they make the fake. He fakes the run. Good patience. It's a nice job giving Lee Evans a chance to make the big play.
And a nice tight spiral from Fred Jackson. Not sure how much throwing he did at Coe College, Division III product. Ryan Lindell on for the extra point. And the Bills offense has quieted this crowd in a hurry. Ryan Lindell will kick it off. Alvin Pierman, the former Jaguar and Seahawk, standing at the goal line waiting for the kick. And Pierman moves forward from the 4. Pierman cutting to the outside. Alvin Pierman on the acceleration. And good return by Pierman. He's chased down by Ashton Yabodi. Penalty marker thrown at the 28-yard line.
Holding number 23 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. 1st and 10. Tennessee.
And it's
timeout on the field.
Coming back. Packed house here at LP Field. 69,000 plus on hand for the Bills and the Titans. Tennessee enters action at 2-6. Offense has come along the last 2 weeks. This play never gets going. Penalty marker as Young went back to throw it.
False start. Number 76. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Let's go back to the touchdown. Jackson to Evans.
Well, you go back and look. They're going to go after Michael Griffin. And watch this right here. Lee Evans is going to come in here and stalk block. And then he takes off on the post route. And it just takes your eyes to be in the wrong place for just a second. A slight hesitation. And with Lee Evans' speed, it's all over.
And a nice sell job by Jackson as well, who faked the run and then dropped back and threw a perfect strike to Evans. On a 1st and 15 handoff, it's Johnson up the middle. And not much there for Johnson. He got cut down by Aaron Schobel. About a 4.5 yard gain. Young throwing. And a floater over the middle to Jared Cook, back up tight end. 3 receivers set on 3rd and 5. Fake the handoff. Young setting up the screen. Put it up in the air for Johnson. And Johnson now going back the other way. Johnson turns it upfield, and he's got a 1st down.
Well, that's a lot of work for a 1st down, isn't it?
How about the block from Vince Young? You want to earn the trust and respect of your teammates, you go ahead and do this.
Yeah, just watch. He's going to throw it all the way back. Now, when Chris Johnson changes direction, just keep an eye on number 10. He's going to come into the right of your screen right there. Boom! That's how you get the respect of your teammates. You watch right here. That's how you win players over, by throwing your body around and making a play for Chris Johnson.
He got Reggie Corner on the block. It goes down as a 9-yard gain. Johnson ran about 50 yards. Handoff to Lendale White. And White trying to push the pile. Will take it for a 2-yard gain to the 35. Denny and Wilson collaborate to bring him down. Chris Johnson, it's like a pinball machine. Well, Johnson was able to work his way to the other side of the field and still get first down yardage.
Well, you know, he's a special player, and we talked with Perry Fuel, the defensive coordinator in Buffalo last night, and he said, listen, the plan is simple, but it's not easy to execute. We have to find a way to slow down Chris Johnson, take some of his edge off, and really make Vince Young beat you with his arm. Make him throw the ball 35 times in this ball game. 2nd and 8 now from the 35-yard line for Tennessee. Play action. Young's got plenty of time. Young trying to drop it in the bucket. Incomplete. Kenny Britt, intended receiver. George Wilson over there defensively to make the play. Yeah, a little more air on that ball. You're going to see up on the sidelines. He's just working a little comeback route right on the boundary there. And right in front of him, you're going to see George Wilson. He's playing that flat area in that coverage, in their zone coverage, and Vince doesn't get it up high enough over top the safety.
Buffalo Bills ranked 2nd in the NFL with 15 interceptions. They lead the AFC in that category. A 3-receiver set now on a 3rd and 8 for the Titans, trailing Buffalo 7-0. Bills are showing blitz. Young in the pocket. Young throws and complete. Nate Washington. Ashton Yabodi smacked him out of bounds. First down, Titans into Buffalo territory, covering 20 yards.
The very same route, just flipped over to the other side. This time he does a better job getting it over the corner. You're going to see right in front of him, 27, is Reggie Corner. He does a good job getting it over the flat defender before Ashton Yabodi can make the play on the comeback.
Nate Washington, he's got that deep speed. You have to respect it. And a quick count, hand off to Johnson. And Johnson is wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage by John McCargo. That's when Johnson can go into slow motion mode and wait to see what develops and then shoot through a hole. You see the numbers this year, ranks #1 in yards per game, rushing average per carry, and big plays. 4 touchdown runs of 50-plus yards for Chris Johnson, the second-year running back from East Carolina.
Well, it's critical for the defensive ends, guys like Kelsey and Schobel, really, and the linebackers, to set the edges in the running game, force Chris Johnson back up inside. You can't allow him to get out on the edge.
8th play of the drive. Set up the screen. Johnson, he's got room. And Johnson falling forward across the 30. Jake Scott ranged outside to help Johnson. An 18-yard pickup on the catch and run.
And this is nothing more than another way to get Chris Johnson out on the perimeter. By throwing the screen pass, they have good, the offensive linemen are very athletic. They can get out in front of some of these screens. But this guy in the open field is very dangerous. He's got great vision. He has patience to set those blocks up. And when he hits it, boy, is he hard to catch.
And Chris Johnson had lunch with country music star Faith Hill on Tuesday, and you had a tuna sandwich. Hand off to Johnson.
See ya.
Johnson's a blur. Touchdown. 28-yard rip.
And that's the danger. If you're going to commit 7 and 8 men to the line of scrimmage to try and stop the run, boy, if he finds a crease in there like he does here, running the power back the other way, it's all over. Because once he gets out on that that level, you're not going to catch him. You see right there, they do a good job. And it's a good example of Brian Scott, the safety who's now playing linebacker. He gets hooked by the tackle. Those run fits are going to be very important for him today, and that's one of the problems Buffalo's going to have. They have a safety that's playing linebacker, and that's going to be awkward for him taking on some of those big tackles.
Chris Johnson, 60 total yards on the drive as Baronis tacks on the extra point. Fred Jackson is the deep man. Rob Baronis will kick it off. Justin Jenkins is also deep for Buffalo. And this is Jackson on the return for the Bills. Jackson finds a crease and then trampled down as he crossed the 30-yard line. A 31-yard return, a penalty marker
During
thrown
the
back at the
return,
20.
holding, number 89. 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10, Buffalo. Timeout on the field.
Buffalo Bills take over, a 1st and 10 at the 10-yard line after the penalty on special teams. Two tight ends, Fine and Nelson. Take the handoff. Edwards in trouble. Edwards throws it away. And he was able to avoid that burst from Tony Brown and William Hayes and got rid of it.
Well, I think it's important for Trent Edwards to hang in there early. I mean, what's going to happen is Tennessee will probe and test him early in this game to see how he responds to pressure, and more importantly, to see if he has answers. Good job here getting out on the edge and throwing it away and not taking the sack.
If you want to look big picture with Trent Edwards, he is playing for his future in Buffalo. They're trying to determine whether or not he's going to be part of this team moving forward. On a handoff, Marshawn Lynch is bottled up by Rod Hood. What a pickup Rod Hood has turned out to be. He got cut by Chicago. He got cut by Cleveland. Formerly a starter with Arizona. Also played with Philadelphia. And boy, he has stepped right in with his Tennessee defense.
You know, I talked to Chuck Cecil about him on Friday. He said there's absolutely no explanation for why this guy was out on the street, but he's come in. He's done a wonderful job, and as Chuck said, it's allowed us to do more things defensively because he can lock down that receiver on the edge.
Nickel package here for Tennessee. Vincent Fuller is checked in. Crowd is loud in this first quarter. Edwards on a 3rd and 11. Rush. Edwards gets it to Marshawn Lynch, who curls upfield, but short of a first down. Had to get to the 20-yard line. It's an 8-yard pickup as David Thornton combines with Jason Jones to bring down Lynch.
Well, that's been a problem all season for the Buffalo Bills, the 3 and outs. They've had 25 coming into today's game. That's too many. As I said, it's demoralizing to your team, and it really hurts their defense. Their defense, talk about time of possession. This Buffalo defense has worn down late in games because they've been on the field way too long.
They are second to last in the NFL in time of possession. Oakland is last. Brian Moorman punting, Pierman waiting, and Pierman catches cleanly at the 30. Goes right upfield, and Pierman, strong run to the 49-yard line. Now Dick Jauron's Buffalo Bills coming off the bye week. Certainly self-scouting takes place during the bye. Buffalo looks sharp on its first possession. 3 and out on the second drive, and now Tennessee takes over. Young dials up a long one, and caught by Brett. Battle for the football with Drayton Florence. And they're going to give it to the rookie, Kenny Britt, way downfield, a 37-yard completion.
Well, you get good field position, and I like they did a little bit of this last week. They're throwing the ball some on first down. You know you're going to get one-on-one coverage. Go ahead and give Kenny Britt, who's 6'3", a chance to go up and make a play on a smaller corner.
Well, Kenny Britt, all Big East coming out of Rutgers and the all-time leading receiver in Scarlet Knights history, stepping in for the injured Justin Gage. On first down, handoff to Johnson, lowers his head and leans forward inside the 15. Marcus Stroud there defensively to make the play. No gain.
Well, you could say what you want about Tennessee. Look at this. First 6 games, they're 0-6. They turned it over 18 times. You know, you can talk about this team getting healthy or running the ball better, playing better defense. That's all important, but the bottom line is you don't give yourself a chance to win in this league when you turn the ball over. The reason they're winning, they're taking care of the football.
This is a team that was plus 14 last year in turnover differential, went 13-3. Young from the gun. Throws it up for grabs in the end zone. And over the head of the intended receiver, Bo Scaife. Brian Scott, who's playing linebacker today, out in coverage. What about that switch with Brian Scott getting the nod, a safety at linebacker?
Yeah, look, you got your tight end there. Give him a chance. You can't put that much air on it. You know, Bo Scaife is a very good tight end. Catches the ball very well, but you got to know the trajectory on that throw. It's got to be a flatter throw to your tight end, and that's the matchup you want, Bo Scaife on Brian Scott.
Well, Perry Fuel, defensive coordinator, we asked him about Scott, and he said, we always saw him as a big safety. I guess today we just have to accept he's just going to be a small linebacker.
Yeah, real small linebacker, 219 pounds.
On third down, Young fires over the middle. Touchdown! Nate Washington breaks free, and the Titans take the lead. Vince Young continues to look sharp, making his third straight start for Tennessee.
Well, you're going to see him bring pressure. Nice job by Vince Young. He knows right where to go with the ball. He finds Nate Washington right across the middle of the field. And they say if you want to dance, you got to pay the band. And you see Buffalo, they brought pressure, but they didn't have an answer for Nate Washington.
4 plays, 52 yards. The big play to Kenny Britt down the sideline as Baronis nails the extra point. Fred Jackson is the deep man. Off the Baronis kick. Jackson will take it from the 2. And Jackson absorbs the hit as he crosses the 25-yard line from Gerald McRath, who started at linebacker last week. On first down for the Bills. Handoff to Jackson, and nothing there. Flag down on the play, thrown at the line of scrimmage.
Offside. Number 95, defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I gotta tell you, John Parry wastes no time. Bang, bang, gets the call, announces it to the crowd.
If you're Trent Edwards, you got to use some hard count early to slow down this front 4.
From the gun, able to get rid of it. Josh Reed has got a first down. 11-yard pickup as he crosses the 40-yard line, and that'll be the final play of this opening quarter. Tennessee with a 14-7 lead over Buffalo as we start play in the second quarter here at LP Field in Nashville, Tennessee. Ian Eagle, Rich Gannon, the rest of our CBS crew. Start of the second half of the season. Both of these teams have played 8 games. Titans are 2-6. Bills are 3-5. Edwards in trouble, and Edwards is sacked. Takes a shot from Stephen Tulloch. Tulloch's second sack of the season, the middle linebacker.
Well, keep an eye on Tulloch. He's going to come right up the middle clean. They brought a lot of pressure up inside on Trent Edwards early in this game. They do a nice job on the edges, covering up T.O. and Lee Evans. Trent Edwards has nowhere to go with the ball.
And Tulloch heads to the sideline, a 3-receiver set after the loss of 9. Vincent Fuller is out there now for the Titans in the nickel. 2 running backs. It's Lynch and Jackson. And this play is whistled dead. Kirk Chambers may have moved on the right side.
False start. 70. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, it was on the right side. It was called on the rookie from Louisville, Eric Wood, the right guard, who actually played center in college. Bills lead the NFL with 19 false start penalties this season. Back it up to a 2nd and 24 now for Buffalo. Line of scrimmage is the 29. Still have not seen T.O. involved for the Bills. Edwards looking. Tried to dump it off to Lynch. Again, he got hit. Tony Brown supplying the heat on Trent Edwards.
And this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to get some hits, some hurries, some knockdowns of Trent Edwards early in this game. And their philosophy is, hey, listen, even if we don't get the sacks, those hits and hurries begin to take their toll. You see Trent Edwards, he has nowhere to go with it, but keep knocking this guy to the ground. Keep in mind, he hasn't been playing in a while. You don't want him to get comfortable early in this game.
Edwards is 5 of 9, 36 yards. And it's 3rd and 24 for Buffalo.
Screen or draw.
Flag comes down.
There's the screen.
Sean Nelson. And Nelson is taken down by Cortland Finnegan at the 31-yard line.
Illegal formation on the offense.
Unbelievable.
Number 81 covered the tight end. That penalty's been declined. The result of the play, 4th down.
And that's That's uncalled for. It really is. Here you're talking about a professional like T.O. He's been in the league a long time, a veteran player. His demeanor, his body language is not good. He doesn't even know where to line up. He's got a tight end on the inside of him, and he's not paying attention. And you talked about it. I mean, they need to eliminate the costly mistakes, the missed assignments, the mental errors, the penalties. They had 59 coming into today's game. That's down the bottom of the league. This is a veteran football team.
Yeah, T.O. has not been a huge distraction, but he hasn't made any plays either. And as the weeks go by, you know the frustration is building because of his numbers. Mormon punting to Alvin Pierman, and Titans will have good field position. On first down, handoff to Johnson, and Paul Posluszny in pursuit of Chris Johnson, able to ride him down. Double tight end set with Scaife and Crumpler on a 2nd and 8. Young flushed out of the pocket, sets and throws. It's complete underneath to Scaife. Hit there by George Wilson, and a gain of 6 on the play. Sets up 3rd and short. And a timeout taken by Tennessee. 3rd and 2 after the timeout.
Oh, man, a little bit of option.
Woo! And Johnson streaking down the sideline. Tracked down by Posluszny.
Now, that's not something you would have seen with Kerry Collins under center. A much different approach offensively with Vince Young in the outfit that you watched. They had the dive action away. This is an old college play, the old college option. And boy, when Chris Johnson gets out in the clear, watch out. Boy, this is hard to defend. You think about Buffalo, all the reps they've had this week in practice. I'm sure that's not one they prepared for.
32 yards has just put Johnson over 1,000 yards rushing on the season in the 9th game of the year. On first down, give it to Johnson again. On the toss, Johnson looking for the edge. And he's forced out of bounds by Brian Scott. That's a 2-yard gain. Johnson last year, 1,228 yards as a rookie, first-round pick out of East Carolina. And he joins the great Earl Campbell and Eddie George. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to start their careers.
Well, you know, if you play fantasy football, I know you do, Ian, and this would be one guy, if you were fortunate enough to draft early in the season, you probably wind up maybe winning the league.
Yeah,
with a player like Chris Johnson. I don't want to rub it in.
Yeah, I don't have him.
I know that.
Thanks for mentioning. On a 2nd and 8 now for Tennessee. Make the handoff. The flip to Ahmad Hall, and the fullback picking up 2 yards. Brian Scott again ranging over to make the play for Buffalo.
And this is a really nice play by Brian Scott. I'm going to tell you why. He, as we mentioned earlier, Ian, he's in a different position. He's playing that linebacker position. They have action away. He does a nice job being patient, staying at home on the backside and sniffing that thing out, and I think that's important.
Just try to explain what kind of transition is it for a player like Brian Scott who plays safety, now trying to play linebacker?
Well, the big thing is in the run game, where his fits are holding up. Not only that, but some of the pressure packages, where he fits in the scheme of things. That's not easy. The guy doesn't have a lot of work or a lot of experience at that position.
Shotgun, look out. Young gets hit, and he was forced to throw it quickly. Chris Kelsey supplying the pressure. And it's 4th down for Tennessee.
Well, they brought Chris Johnson one way, tried to screen the other way. Nice job by Buffalo, not being fooled, staying at home and reading things out.
Rob Baronis onto the field, trying to extend this Tennessee lead. 38-yard field goal attempt for Baronis. Went to the Pro Bowl in 2007. 2 years in the Arena League, an NFL success story out of Georgia Southern. 38-yard attempt.
Oh, I think somebody got a hand on that one.
They may have gotten a piece, but it doesn't matter.
Well, just keep an eye on the middle of your screen right here. But John Wendling's going to make a great effort, but watch right here, Chris Kelsey. Do you think this is not important to him? He actually gets a hand on his left hand. It's not enough, but that's effort. That's from your starting defensive end right there, Chris Kelsey. These guys are doing everything they can to try and win a game in Buffalo.
That is now 13 straight made field goals for Rob Baronis, and that one was close to getting denied at the line of scrimmage. Tennessee with a 17-7 lead over the Bills. 9:59 to go in this first half. Baronis kicks it off. Scooped off the ground by Fred Jackson. And Jackson working the perimeter. He's thrown down out across the 30-yard line.
as I break down this Buffalo offense. I mean, they're halfway through the regular season, and I'm not sure they really found their identity offensively. When they fired Turk Schonert, the offensive coordinator, before the start of the season, they scrapped the no huddle 3 weeks ago, and they're still trying to find their way.
Marshawn Lynch up the middle.
And that needs to be a big part of it right there. This guy, Marshawn Lynch, has to get going. I think that's a big part of who they've been in the past, and their ability to run the ball and get some production on first down makes it a lot easier to call plays for Alex Van Pelt.
Well, we'll talk about it because in the sit-down with Chuck Cecil, Tennessee defensive coordinator, he wasn't really sure what to expect from this Buffalo offense coming off the bye week. Fake the handoff. Edwards, Sean Nelson, and he's got a first down. Keith Bulluck tracking him down. They'll move the chains for Buffalo. That one covers 6 yards. Edwards on first down. Little flip. And Marshawn Lynch banging his way out to midfield and falls forward into Tennessee territory. Turn that into a 7-yard gain as Edwards was in major trouble as he was able to get rid of the football. Fake the handoff.
Oh, you got him.
Edwards, there's separation. There's T.O. Couldn't stay in bounds.
Now this is good to see. Taking a shot and giving T.O. a chance. Give him a chance to make a play. This is some of the things he does well. They starts him to the post. You're going to watch. He's going to start him to the post inside, and then he's going to work all the way back to the corner. But look, when he gets up on the safety, a guy like Chris Hope has absolutely no chance. And if he could just keep his feet in bounds there, he would have scored. But good job by Trent Edwards. Give him a chance. I think with Trent Edwards back in the lineup, you'll see him push the ball down the field more.
First and goal for Buffalo. 3 tight ends. Flags come down.
You
Ball
just can't
start.
do that.
Number 70, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And second penalty of the day against Eric Wood. That was a 46-yard pass play. Edwards to Owens. Longest pass play of the season for T.O.
A good job putting some air on it, and they talked about this during the bye week, that you can't overthrow a guy like T.O. Just throw it out there as far as you can, put some air on it, and let him run under it.
Line of scrimmage after the penalty is the 8-yard line.
Well, just costly mistakes in this part of the field.
Fans getting behind this Tennessee defense. A first and goal from the 8. Edwards, fade route up in the air, and caught by Evans. Touchdown, Buffalo. Second touchdown of the day for Lee Evans.
Well, that's a good job, not going after Cortland Finnegan, but going after Rod Hood, giving Lee Evans a chance. Good throw there by Trent Edwards.
Now, there was definitely some pushing and shoving.
A little fade route. Nice job putting some air on it and giving Lee Evans a chance to adjust. A little jostling going on there, but
Evans wins the one-on-one battle. It's set up by the long reception by T.O. And Ryan Lindell on for the extra point. 17-14. Buffalo Bills close to within 17-14 on Tennessee. 7:01 to go in this second quarter. Lee Evans, a couple of touchdown receptions here today, came in with 3 on the season. Lindell kicks it off to Alvin Pierman, moves forward at the 13-yard line. And Pierman just short of the 30-yard line. That's where they'll place the football. 17-yard run back. How about Trent Edwards so far in his return from the concussion?
yeah, so far so good. He's been knocked around a little bit early. He's hung in there. He's battled. He's made some good reads, and he's got him in this game with a chance to win on the road.
Vince Young is 8 of 12, 109 yards. Young, deep ball, and penalty marker. Kenny Britt, intended target.
Might get Drayton Florence there, I think.
You had 2 Bills in the area.
Prior to the pass being thrown, illegal contact. Number 29, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And Rich, that is correct. Drayton Florence, former Charger, former Jaguar, in for the injured Leotis McKelvin, who broke his leg earlier this season.
Well, you know, they've done a nice job of this the last 2 weeks, throwing the ball some on first down. I think it's important when you run the ball as well as Tennessee does. You know you're going to get a lot of heavy 8-man fronts on the early downs. You have to be able to throw it to back them off.
Well, they had just one passing touchdown the last 4 games. They have one today. And Johnson gets stacked up. Brian Scott reading that one perfectly. No gain on the play. Chris Johnson with 69 yards rushing on 9 carries and the touchdown. Johnson comes in averaging 6.7. You're talking about years and years where we haven't seen numbers like this. Bobby Douglas was a quarterback. Dan Towler from the Rams in 1951 averaged 6.8. Deacon Dan Towler. Back in your day, Rich.
How about it, man?
Titans lead by 3. Handoff to Johnson. And Johnson upended at the 35. No gain for Johnson. George Wilson sticking his helmet in there along with another Johnson. No relation, Spencer Johnson for Buffalo.
Well, you don't lead the league in rushing without a pretty darn good offensive line, and that's exactly what they have here. And you look at that group up front, led by Kevin Mawai, their center. But it's a big group. I mean, the tackles are 315, 318, Stewart and Ruse. And these guys can move people at the point, and as we said, Chris Johnson doesn't need a very big crease.
3 receivers set on a 3rd and 10. Young operating out of the gun. Steps, throws, Young puts it up and intercepted. Picked off by the Birdman, Jairus Byrd.
Boy, I could see that one coming. There's just way too much air on that throw. When you throw a vertical seam route to the inside receiver with a free safety like Jairus Byrd in the middle of the field, boy, you make it easy for him. You talk about a guy that's always in the right place at the right time. You're going to see right there trying to throw this one to Lavelle Hawkins. And Jairus Byrd, he just reads the quarterback's eyes the whole time. He doesn't fool him at all. You put too much air on that, it makes it easy for a free safety like Jairus Byrd.
8th interception of the season for Jairus Byrd, the rookie from Oregon.
Well, it's 4 straight games, Ian, with an interception. This guy seems to be in the right place at the right time. He catches the ball very well, and he's very dangerous after he makes the pick.
So the Bills take over. It's like a glorified punt on a 1st and 10 at the 36. Edwards throwing on a slant to Terrell Owens.
A lot of work there to gain 2 yards.
Moving in the wrong direction as Owens was kicking after the play. Keith Bullock over there, along with Cortland Finnegan. Some words being exchanged between Owens and Stephen Tulloch.
But I still think this is a positive. You have to find ways to get the ball in his hands. I mean, even a little in route like this, a little shallow cross, this guy can really be disruptive after the catch. But boy, I tell you what, he's got a target on his back. You look at all those blue jerseys there.
On 2nd down, stop and go by Marshawn Lynch. And able to push the pile. Lynch has enough for a 1st down, but a penalty marker thrown back at the 29-yard line. That's a 9-yard gain.
Number 67, offense.
Boy, the rookies along that offensive
penalty.
line just killing him right now.
That is
down.
Andy Levitri, rookie out of Oregon State. He played tackle in college. He's playing left guard. 51st overall pick for Buffalo.
Well, they knew there were going to be some growing pains. It's a very young and inexperienced offensive line. It's completely revamped, and it's made it difficult to call plays, particularly in 3rd down situations. They've had to be very protection conscious with that young group up front.
On a 2nd and 18 now for Buffalo. Down to 4:12 and counting left in this 1st half. Tennessee leads at 17-14. Edwards, short drop, and a throw to the outside, and Lee Evans. 3rd and 10. Protection holds up. Edwards to Jackson.
Boy, what a great effort by Jackson.
Fred Jackson, it'll all depend on the spot. Should have been brought down much sooner than that.
Boy, he's going to be really close, Ian.
Bullock missed. Jason Jones missed for Tennessee. And that looks like a favorable spot for Jackson.
I'll tell you what, he has been their most productive player offensively this year, Fred Jackson.
And it is a 1st down for Buffalo out across the 45-yard line.
Well, you talk about a great 2nd and 3rd effort. You know, Trent Edwards wants to throw this one downfield. It's not there. Right at the last second, he kicks it out wide to Fred Jackson. There's a miss there. And this has been a problem for this Tennessee defense. Poor tackling.
1st and 10 to the 46. Play action. Edwards on a dump off. No. William Hayes with the pressure. Hayes coming off a strong game last week where he had a sack and a half, 8 tackles, and a forced fumble. This is a man that lost 15 pounds during the offseason to get a little leaner and faster at that defensive end position.
And they're playing better. That front four, Hayes, Brown, Vander Bosch, they're playing better the last 3 weeks. They're better in their run defense, but more importantly, they're getting upfield, putting pressure on the quarterback, and that's helped generate some turnovers in that secondary.
On a 3-receiver set, T.O. lined up by himself on the near side. Edwards inside handoff, and Jackson accelerating up the middle out near midfield for a 3-yard pickup. David Thornton involved in that stop along with Keith Bullock.
Well, he talked with Chuck Cecil again on Friday. He was talking about Trent Edwards, and he said he was a little bit concerned. We haven't seen a lot of him. You know, obviously he's been out, but he said, you know, he's been a little up and down. But he said the guy we're preparing for is the one we saw in week 1 against New England when he just came out and lit it up. That's the guy that they're preparing for here today.
The Buffalo Bills are on pace for the 2nd worst total yardage in a 16-game season in Bills history. That has not been a problem, though, in this first half. They put up 171 yards of offense. They trail the Titans 17-14. They've got a 3rd and 7 at the 49-yard line with time running out in the first half, and this play whistled dead.
Unbelievable.
False start. Number 77. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And that is after a timeout, Rich. 6th penalty against Buffalo, costing them 40 yards. Demetrius Bell, the first-year tackle out of Northwestern State, the guilty party.
And you can see the frustration there in Dick Duran's face, and they're taking turns up front, making mistakes. And you just can't do that against a good defense like Tennessee, particularly on the road.
So it turns into a 3rd and 12 now for Buffalo.
Boy, 3rd down's hard enough, but when you make it 3rd and long against a defense like this, you give them so many more choices.
Rush coming, knocked up in the air, and it's caught by Lynch, breaks 1 tackle, and then bang down. He got hit from a number of different angles, including a shot from Kevin Casevahorn and Rod Hood. It's a 2-yard gain, and the Bills will punt. Vincent Fuller was the one who came off the edge and got in the face of Trent Edwards.
Boy, they better get that straightened out at halftime. I mean, the penalties, the false starts, the communication, it's not even that loud in the stadium here today, and yet they're still having these communication errors and problems up front.
Now Buffalo using clock. Down to 1:18 and counting. Titans have 2 timeouts remaining. Ryan Moorman punting. And this is Pierman. Fair catch at the 9.
Boy, Vince Young has to get straightened out some of his trajectory on some of these throws. You know, you look at the both Scaife throw in the back of the end zone and in the first quarter, and then again that last interception he was trying to throw to Lavelle Hawkins down the field. Can't put that much air on some of these throws.
Chris Johnson gets the carry. Stroud and Kelsey bring him down. He picks up 4 yards on 1st down. Clock is moving, under a minute to go now in this first half. Question would be, will Buffalo, who has the full complement of timeouts left, call a timeout? Doesn't appear that they will. And they'll just head to the locker room in a 17-14 game. 38 seconds left. Young from the gun. And Johnson fumbles. Able to jump on top of it. Buffalo was not in turnover mode. And a loss of 3 on the play.
Well, you don't see that too often from Vince Young and Chris Johnson, and particularly in that part of the field.
Well, now the Bills use a timeout. They've got Tennessee pinned deep in its own territory and an opportunity to get the football and maybe 1 pass, 2 pass into field goal range to tie this game up. 25 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they probably could have used that timeout earlier.
The Titans were almost in run out the clock mode. Didn't you get that sense on that handoff? It wasn't crisp. Young to Johnson, just thinking about getting to the locker room at halftime.
No, and you can't take anything for granted in this league. And I would expect from Mike Heimerdinger here a run. force Buffalo to use one of their 2 remaining timeouts.
26 seconds left on the clock. And a 3rd and 9 at the 10-yard line.
Either a run or a screen would be my guess.
Once again, shotgun formation.
There's
Young
the screen.
set it up. Johnson working out in space, and he's got a first down.
I'm telling you, I'm wasting my time up in this broadcast booth, I am. I should be down on that field calling plays.
Really? Are you politicking for a job right now?
I'm batting about 100 this year.
100?
1,000.
Oh, no, let's go with the wrong sport. That was a Freudian slip. You're about 1 of 10. You're right.
But I'll tell you that's you know, you gotta think as an offensive coordinator when you're playing defense. What would Mike Heimerdinger do in that situation? You got a young quarterback in Vince Young. You don't want to put him in a bad spot. Well, you either run a draw there or you throw a screen. It's exactly what they did.
19 seconds left, first half. Young to throw again. Makes the connection to Kenny Britt. 10 seconds left. Titans need 22 yards to attempt about a 52, 53-yard field goal for Rob Barones. Only 10 seconds remaining, though, in this first half. After the timeout, Young out of the pocket, throwing over the middle. Johnson.
Oh, my goodness.
Look out. And Johnson ducks out of bounds with no time remaining. Time has run out in this first half. Titans claim that he got out of bounds with 1 second left. Bills are heading towards the locker room. And the Titans aren't going anywhere.
And that's corners and safeties that he's running away from. I mean, these aren't linebackers. These are good players with a lot of speed in the open field that he's making miss.
They are calling the Bills back onto the field. They're going to put 1 second on the clock. And Dick Duron, you've got to be kidding me to read his lips.
Well, just watch the clock. Just watch the effort by Chris Johnson. And this is amazing. Right there's a miss. Now watch him just separate right there from Brian Scott. Well, I think he does get out with 1 second, doesn't he?
He's got 1 second.
Now you got a 60-yard field goal try. And we watched Rob Barones warm up in pregame warm-up, and he was hitting them from here. He's got a big enough leg to make this kick.
There is precedent. Did it against Indianapolis in 2006.
He'll need a better snap and hold. And keep in mind, he's had 3 different holders this year. 3 different holders after Hendrick went down, and now he's got Brent Kern.
Ken Amato will snap it. Kern will hold it. Barones from 60 yards away for Tennessee. And a timeout call. A little gamesmanship here. Dick Duron, you call my team back onto the field, I'll extend this first half.
So yeah, I think he's got enough leg. I watched him in pregame warm-ups, and
there's little wind right now. That has not been an issue at all. It's been a very mild day. Temperatures in the high 60s here in Nashville.
And in talking with these kickers, I mean, it's not any different than hitting a 3 or 4 iron. You don't want to hit it any harder. You just want to stroke it like you normally would. You need a good snap and a good hold, though. As we saw that last field goal they tried, Chris Kelsey and John Wendling, the safety, they got in there between that center guard gap and got a hand on that kick.
Rob Barones has been a clutch kicker over the course of his career with the Titans, now in his 5th year. This will be from 60 yards away.
That's where the pressure came last time, right there.
Kern to hold it. Amato snaps it. 60-yard attempt for Rob Barones. It's short, and it's caught in the end zone by Jackson.
Well, you can't give up now.
Jackson stays on his feet, and Jackson finally brought down as he crossed the 30-yard line. That'll do it. First half of play is complete with Tennessee in front of Buffalo, 17-14. So here we go. Second half action at LP Field. Titans trying to win their 3rd in a row. Bills attempting to get back on track. They are 3-0 after the bye week under Dick Duron, 14-6 all time. Barones kicks it off. He missed the 60-yard field goal to end the first half, and Fred Jackson will take it out of the end zone for Buffalo. And Jackson crosses the 15-yard line. Colin Allred bringing him down on special teams after the 17-yard return.
You know, a number of people have asked me this week my opinions of Trent Edwards. You look here at the first half possessions. I mean, you know, it's been hot and cold with this football team. It's kind of hit or miss. And you see there the 10-play drive to start. That was a positive, and they come back a 3 and out. They have to eliminate that. But people ask me about my opinion of Trent Edwards. I think that I still believe the guy's got a chance to be a player in this league. I think the fact they've had 3 different coordinators in 3 years has hurt him. And I also think his growth and development as a quarterback has been hampered because he hasn't been able to stay on the field. He's had a number of injuries that have kept him out of the lineup.
On a 1st and 10 from the 17, Marshawn Lynch hard running, keeps the legs moving, and William Hayes there to help bring him down. It's a 6-yard gain. Titans claim they've got the football. And Buffalo, it appears, will hold on to it. 2nd down for the Bills.
Well, it's not the way you want to start the second half, is it?
In a tight game with Tennessee in front by 3. First play from scrimmage in this 3rd quarter. Marshawn Lynch just trying to get some extra yardage.
And that'll take the air out of you. You lay at the bottom of a pile for a while, you have one of those 350-pounders on you in this heat.
Now Lynch was down there with Sean Nelson, who will be given credit on the recovery. 4th-round pick this year. So Buffalo now facing a 2nd and 4. Had 2 touchdown drives in the first half. Edwards in some trouble. On the move. And Edwards will throw it away. In his 3rd year out of Stanford, Edwards. Deep ball. Terrell Owens. Over the shoulder grab. Working on Cortland Finnegan. Edwards to Owens. A 27-yard hookup.
Now that's a good play, but it could have been a fantastic play with a better throw here. Watch how T.O., he's got Cortland Finnegan beat. Now go ahead and throw it out there. Watch how he has to slow up at the end of that. A better throw there by Trent Edwards, and T.O. might go the distance.
3rd catch of the day. 85 yards for T.O., and it sets the Bills up with a 1st and 10 at the Tennessee 41. Shotgun formation, handoff to Lynch up the middle, steamrolling his way out across the 35-yard line for Buffalo.
Well, we talked so much about Chris Johnson. We haven't really talked a lot about Marshawn Lynch, and there's been a bit of a disappointment. You know, he hasn't gotten going since that early season suspension, but I think he's a very physical runner. He's got that rare combination of speed and power. And the great thing about Marshawn Lynch, when you watch him at the end of runs, he's always falling forward and getting you those extra yards.
Injury update. Demetrius Bell is out with a knee injury. Andy Levitri has shifted over at left tackle, and Seth McKinney, the veteran, is in at left guard. Handoff, it's Lynch. Very young offensive line for Buffalo. They've dealt with just a load of injuries. Brad Butler down with a knee injury on that right side. Remember, Jason Peters was the standout. They made that deal with Philadelphia. Demetrius Bell has taken on a lot of responsibility as a young player on the left side. They have a rookie in Levitri. They have a rookie in Eric Wood. Jamon Meredith has seen extended action. He's a rookie out of South Carolina.
It's amazing. You know, you think about the injury. Now you move a rookie at left guard, you move him out to left tackle, one of the more difficult positions to play along that offensive line.
3rd and a long 1. Play fake. Edwards finds the open man, and it's Derek Fine, the tight end, for a 1st down.
You know, we talked with Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator. He talked about the importance of getting Trent Edwards comfortable in this game early. He said, you know, we're going to limit some of the difficult concepts and reads early in the game. The quick game is always a good thing, and certainly screens and nakeds. Get him out there running on the edge where he can make some plays and get his confidence back. You see right now, they're going to move him outside. They're going to run their version of the Wildcat. We saw the throw earlier from this formation for the touchdown to Lee Evans.
And it's Fred Jackson working out of the gun. Fake the handoff. Jackson looks for some running room and slides his way to a gain of 5 as he crosses the 20-yard line. Keith Bullock there to bring him down.
And this was some of the concerns that the Tennessee Titans defensive staff had earlier when we talked with them. They said that this game plan, really, they were paranoid because when you break down this offense, especially coming off of a bye, you're not really sure what you're going to get, who they are, and which direction they're going to go. And we've seen some different things already in the first half from this Bills offense.
Yeah, Buffalo's been much more creative here today. Edwards, shotgun formation. Releasing is Fred Jackson. Jackson with a little juke move, stays on his feet. That has been what we've seen from Jackson all day and all season. Extra effort, that's what got him to the NFL. An 8-yard gain for Jackson. Played in the United Indoor Football League.
And this is what I said earlier in the game. This guy has been their most productive offensive player so far and their most dependable. I mean, he has been tough to bring down in the open field, and Trent Edwards has kicked it down to him a number of times on these little checkdowns, and he's made some big plays in the open field.
On a 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. This is the 9th play of the drive. Long drives is not something that had been commonplace for the Bills this season.
Oh, geez, another penalty. This time, Seth McKinney.
False start. Number 68. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
And it is McKinney. Versatile veteran. 7th penalty against the Buffalo Bills, costing them 45 yards. McKinney now in his 8th year in the NFL.
And what was there? It is right there. 21 false start penalties, the most in the National Football League, and 4 today. You give yourself no chance, particularly in this part of the field, if you can't remember the snap count.
2nd and 15 now for Buffalo. Edwards pumping. Edwards running. Slides down before absorbing a huge hit. It'll go down as a 2-yard gain for Trent Edwards.
It's good to see Trent Edwards. He's being decisive here today. I mean, he's making good decisions, but when it's not there, he's known where to go with his quick answer throws, and in that situation, does a nice job pulling it down, making a few yards with his legs.
During the bye week, Trent Edwards and his dad went to the Stanford-Oregon game, sat in the stands. Edwards said it was a lot of fun, but a little weird being back there. Hadn't been back to Stanford since he graduated. How about the run that Jim Harbaugh is on with the Cardinals? Shotgun, handoff to Lynch, and accelerating up the gut. Lynch is brought down inside the 10. It's a gain of 5. Kyle Vanden Bosch getting him down low.
Well, I really felt it was going to be important for the Bills to be able to run the ball versus defense, because if you can't run it, it makes for a very long day for the offensive line and for quarterback Trent Edwards. I mean, if you become one-dimensional against that guy right there, boy, he will heat you up with a number of different pressures, and it makes it very hard to make any yardage.
On a 3rd and 8 now, 11th play of the drive for the Buffalo Bills. Bills with a chance to take the lead. Fans come to their feet here in Nashville. Shotgun formation. Edwards steps. Edwards in trouble. Edwards brought down from behind. Senderick Marks, rookie from Auburn.
Well, we talked about that defensive line. They've done a much better job. They have a nice rotation. You see Senderick Marks there. We saw Javon Hay earlier, Dave Ball, Jacob Ford. They move that group around there. They rotate them. They always keep them fresh. So you have 4 guys on there ready to get upfield and attack the passer.
Ryan Lindell will attempt a chip shot. 25-yard field goal for Lindell. And Lindell curls it through to tie this game up. Buffalo Bills have had only one winning season this decade. Back in 2004, they went 9-7. They enter action today at 3-5. They just tied this game up with Tennessee at 17 apiece. 8:17 to go in the 3rd quarter. Ryan Lindell will kick it off to Alvin Pierman. And Pierman will take it from the 3-yard line. That hole closed up in a hurry as he hurdled his way over the 20, shy of the 25. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line for Tennessee. Young on a handoff to Chris Johnson. Running lane for Johnson, and Johnson nearly broke it as he took it to the 2nd level. A 22-yard burst. Good block from Jake Scott. And Johnson's numbers continue to impress.
Boy, they've done a nice job with this counterplay to the backside. Look at that hole there. Good job by the offensive line. They knew he was going to get his yards. They just wanted to eliminate the big runs, the runs of 15 yards or more. And he's had a number of them today. And if you don't stop him at the line of scrimmage, boy, you got to find a way to gang tackle him, make him go east and west first before you allow him to go north and south.
He is just under 8 yards per carry. 12 carries, 95 yards on the toss. And Johnson stood up as he could not get ahead of steam. Marcus Stroud, a 3-time Pro Bowler and a run stuffer who takes pride in the work that he does up the middle, limits Johnson to a 1-yard gain.
That's not the guy you want to run into if you're Chris Johnson. Marcus Stroud, it's like running into a wall. It's a big thud when you hit a guy like Marcus Stroud.
6'6", 310 pounds.
He's their biggest defensive lineman, and this is a smaller front seven. I mean, the ends are 260 and 243. Linebackers are undersized guy, very quick. Can they hold up? That's the big thing. Can they hold up in the running game here in the second half?
On a 2nd and 9 now. Young in some trouble. Look at the room he's got. Vince Young busting it to the outside and a first down.
And that should be a penalty right there on the boundary. Well, that was close by Reggie Corner. He went down low on Vince Young's legs when he was out of bounds. But this is, and here, you think you got him all covered, you think, and all of a sudden Vince Young, he pulls it down. He can make some plays with his legs as well. I guess that's a pretty good shot.
Well, that's the former quarterback in you that comes out during these moments.
Well, the officials have been very aggressive with calling those plays on the boundary, but this guy has the ability to extend plays with his legs. He runs for a couple first downs each week, and that really can hurt a defense.
So 14 yards on the ground now for Young, 157 yards through the air, and a new set of downs for Tennessee to work with. Handoff. Johnson just continues to put pressure on the defense. Paul Posluszny and a number of Bills come flying in. Jarris Bird and Algie Crumpler had a little chat after the play, and Johnson has just cracked 100 yards, 14 carries.
Yeah, you look at this Buffalo defense. You look at the production, man, is that amazing? When you talk about cracking 100 yards, he's up here at 197, 228. He's almost cracking 200 yards in some of these weeks. And his goal is 2,000 yards, and I think he's got a real good shot at it. He can stay healthy the rest of the way.
On 2nd and 6. Look out. And Johnson tripped up, and it's coming back.
They're going to get Eugene Amano, I believe.
On the left side of that Tennessee offensive line.
Holding, number 54, offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And that is Eugene Amano out of Southeast Missouri State. Versatile player. He's a former backup at center and guard. Now, how about the job last week that Leroy Harris did at right tackle, having never played the position? He stepped in for the injured David Stewart, and Tennessee didn't miss a beat on that offensive line.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. Both teams have really had to shuffle around some of the offensive line, and it's really nice when you have a player like Leroy Harris, as you said, Ian. It's really a center and a guard that has the flexibility and the athleticism to jump out there and play tackle and not miss a beat.
On a 2nd and 16.
Whoa!
And penalty markers
Ball
come
start.
down again.
Number 28, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And that one's called against Johnson.
Boy, they've lost their rhythm here a little bit, and penalties will do that. When you're cranking along there offensively, and you get a false start or two or a holding penalty, boy, it can really set you back. And if you're Mike Heimerdinger, you look down at your call sheet, you got a 2nd and 20. You don't have a lot of plays scripted for this situation.
Johnson has runs of 28 yards, 32 yards, and 22 yards today. 14 carries officially for 101 on the ground. 3 receivers set and a 2nd and 21. Deep drop for Young. Fires over the middle to Johnson, and well covered there by Reggie Corner. Paul Posluszny helping out as well, the linebacker. Sets up 3rd and long. It's a 4-yard gain.
It's amazing when you watch Buffalo play defense. You're so used to, particularly against a team that can run the ball, so much 8-man front. They play a lot of press, man-to-man coverage, but we're not seeing as much of that today. And when we talked with Perry Fuel, he said this is probably not going to be a big man-to-man day, so we want to make sure our eyes are focused on the backfield. Chris Johnson and Vince Young. We don't want to have our backs turned to the line of scrimmage and have one of these two find a crease.
3rd and 16 now for the Titans. 5 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. Set up the screen, getting Johnson out in space. Gallops his way out across the 40-yard line, but short of the 35. Brian Scott with the tackle. And now they're kind of in no man's land here because they're at the 36-yard line.
Just watch Vince Young. He's thinking back all the way here. I think that's part of the problem. I mean, he has to continue to grow and develop as a pocket passer in this league. I think that's really important. His decision-making, his accuracy, he has to get more comfortable in those situations.
They could have tried a 54-yard field goal, or they would have faced a 4th and 6 if they went for it. Keep the possibility of a fake. Brett Kern try to place it inside the 10. Takes a bounce the other way, and it will be down right around the 11-yard line. Total yards in this game, Tennessee has been fairly balanced. Buffalo, since that first quarter, have been very productive. Brett Jackson, 2nd and 6 now from the 15-yard line for Buffalo. Jackson on the day, 5 carries, 20 yards. Edwards in the pocket, throwing underneath, just short of a first down. It's Sean Nelson bringing it in cleanly. And Keith Bullock there. Nelson's a big target, 6'5", 240 pounds. And T.O. is having a tough time making his way back the other way. And now he's headed to the Buffalo sideline. He's jawing with the officials.
Well, I tell you what, I've been very impressed today with Trent Edwards. His ability to hang in there in the pocket with some pressure around him and make good, accurate throws. And boy, T.O. needs to get his head on straight, focus on this football game and helping his team. Boy,
on a 3rd and 1, he didn't get it.
That was a long way to go for a quarterback sneak against this defensive line.
Trent Edwards, they did not get the push required up front. And no gain on the play. They got stonewalled at the line of scrimmage.
Boy, you just hate to waste an opportunity like that. Keep in mind, you got a quarterback that's coming off of a concussion. You know, and you watch him when he sneaks this, look how high he was. You got to get low behind that offensive line. Some quarterbacks are good sneakers, other quarterbacks are not. Right there, Trent Edwards, that was not a good effort. Just watch how high he is. You got to get low. Look at his head. You got to get really low. You got to find a gap between the center and the guard and throw your body in there. Boy, the defensive line won that battle.
Just under a minute to go now in the 3rd. Brian Moorman punting. Alvin Pearman moving forward, and a fair catch. 17 apiece, Tennessee and Buffalo. 52 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Vince Young throwing over the middle, low throw, and it's incomplete. Kenny Britt, the intended target, working against Reggie Corner. It's 2nd and 10 for the Titans. Johnson in the backfield gets the call. And Johnson, 2 yards on the carry. John McCargo combining with Spencer Johnson on the stop. 3rd and 8 now for this Tennessee offense. 42nd all-time meeting between these two teams. Titans lead it with a mark of 25-16. They've won 5 of the last 6 games in this series.
Well, we haven't heard a lot from Kenny Britt since that first quarter. You see him right down here at the bottom of your screen. Well, he's had plenty of opportunities with this man-to-man coverage.
3rd and 8. On a crossing route, he's got Bo Scaife for a first down. Across the 45-yard line of Buffalo. Ian Eagle, Rich Gannon, the rest of our CBS crew. Buffalo with a field goal in the 3rd quarter to tie this one up at 17. Tennessee is on the move. A 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line of Buffalo. First play of the 4th quarter. Young couldn't handle the snap initially, able to jump on it. So no major damage, although they'll lose about 2 yards on the play.
And this should never happen in an NFL game. You have a veteran like Kevin Mawae, a Pro Bowl center, and of course Vince Young, and it's difficult to place the blame on somebody, but ball security, obviously, we always talk about the quarterback center exchange. This is something you work on in day 1 in training camp.
2nd and 12 for the Titans. Fake the handoff. Young set up the screen for Johnson. He's got blockers. Johnson finds an opening and banged down just short of the 35-yard line. Paul Posluszny ranging over to make the play for Buffalo. It's an 8.5, 9-yard gain. Mawai and Jake Scott getting out to help create some space. And Posluszny, who was banged up on the play.
I'll tell you what, they're one of the best teams in the National Football League in terms of the screen game, and they do a good job setting it up. Vince Young, very patient. He does a good job drawing the rush. But, well, you're just looking for ways, as we said earlier in the game, to get Chris Johnson out on the perimeter. They do it with the toss, and they do it very well with the screen game.
184 all-purpose yards for Johnson today, 81 through the air. After the timeout, Tennessee faces a 3rd and short with this game tied at 17. Run the option. Johnson will get 2 yards and a whole lot more. Stutter step along the sideline, and Chris Johnson. Why wouldn't you give it to him on a 3rd and short? Any kind of short yardage situation, you have to trust that he's going to get it done.
Boy, they've caught him in the right defense. They're going to run the option off of Kelsey on the end man on the line of scrimmage. But when you catch him in man-to-man coverage and you get him out on the edge like this, boy. Nice job by Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator. They run a couple of these options in 3rd and short situations.
Buffalo Bills last in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game. Johnson now with a $126. And a 1st and 10 for Tennessee. Handoff, it's Johnson. And thrown down by McCargo. Gain of a half a yard on the play for Johnson.
Somebody's down on the ground.
Everyone appears to be okay.
Well, they just give you a lot to prepare for offensively. You know, you talk about how they've really gone a different direction since Vince Young has been under center, and that guy right there, Mike Heimerdinger, has really had to change his philosophy of sorts to really focus in on what Vince Young does well. And certainly he's got a lot of history and experience running that option.
8th play of the drive from the 13. Fake the handoff, a bootleg. Young throwing and nobody home. It was Bo Scaife in the area, but the ball lofted too high for the tight end. Incomplete.
And that's a positive play for Vince Young. Throwing it away when it's not there is not the end of the world, particularly in this part of the field. Just being smart, and I think that's where I've seen the most progress from Vince Young. I think he's really learning how to manage the game, understanding situational football, and realizing that he doesn't have to do it all himself. He's got a good defense, a good offensive line, and a back that's really hot right now in Chris Johnson.
They've had balance on this drive so far, now facing a 3rd and 10 at the 13-yard line. Young will work from the gun. Young out of the pocket. Young turning the corner. He's got the angle. Vince Young. He came up just short. The knee came down.
And you get so concerned about covering Chris Johnson that you forget about the speed and the playmaking ability of a guy like Vince Young. And right there, you see Paul Posluszny. I mean, he had the angle and everything else, but I think he just underestimated Vince Young's speed in that situation.
Well, fans just saw it on the big screen here. It was pretty clear on the replay. The knee was down, and he came up a yard shy. Jeff Fisher's going to challenge it. Not sure what he saw. Did that look obvious to you?
Although it's pretty clear to me that did not. It'd be interesting to see what he's challenging.
Tennessee has challenged the previous play down by contact short of the goal line or a score. We'll review the play.
Either or, huh?
Jeff Fisher has challenged the ruling on the field. The ball was spotted just outside the 1-yard line. Let's see the call here from Perry.
After reviewing the play, when the quarterback's knee was down, the ball was just inside the 1-yard line. Therefore, the ruling on the field has been confirmed. Tennessee is charged with their first team timeout.
So the Titans lose a timeout.
Well, I got to tell you, and I'm really surprised by that challenge by Jeff Fisher. He's a guy that certainly has been pretty good at the communication between the sidelines and the coaching booth upstairs to kind of give him some direction. But in that situation, I mean, sometimes we can get influenced by the crowd. Certainly the crowd noise was indicating that maybe it was a score, and But that was not a good challenge there for Jeff Fisher.
Now the issue to me is the ball should be spotted inside the one. Right now it's outside the one.
There it is.
There you go.
Yep.
So the fans react to that.
Again, what's a few inches between friends, right?
Well, it cost Jeff Fisher a timeout to get those inches.
But not a good challenge, particularly in a game like this, 17-17. Tight game. Might need that challenge somewhere later in the fourth quarter.
Johnson in the backfield on a 1st and goal. Ball spotted just inside the one, trying to take the lead. Johnson is stacked up. Nowhere for Johnson to move as Posluszny and Stroud collapsed that offensive line. It's a loss of a yard.
You're going to see, watch Paul Posluszny. He's going to fly through first. You get pressure. You get some push-up field from Stroud. Good job. Again, penetration on those short yardage and goal line runs kills you every time.
2nd and goal for Tennessee from the 2. Titans and Bills are tied at 17. 3 tight end formation for the Titans. Play action. Young circling. Young throwing. Out of bounds. Alge Crumpler.
Was a good effort by Alge Crumpler. He looked like a wide receiver. Look at the big man. You're just going to watch him at the end of this play. Does a nice job trying to keep his feet in bounds. Watch him extend right here. He's doing everything he can to keep those feet in bounds, but just can't get it up. Good job by Buffalo. They were not fooled by the play action fake and the naked keep by Vince Young.
Yeah, peace, Alge. No harm. Huge play here on a 3rd and goal for Tennessee. Handoff, it's Johnson. Johnson hit, and Johnson keeps on going. Touchdown, Titans.
Boy, Brian Scott is not going to be happy with that one. They have him stopped in the backfield. You see Brian Scott right there. We talked about earlier, eyeing a bigger safety. It's now become a smaller linebacker. He's got him right there in the hole, he and Posluszny, and they let him get loose. You got to find a way to bring this guy down. You give him 2nd and 3rd chances. Just can't allow a player like this another opportunity.
Tennessee back in front. Rob Baronis with the extra point. And Jackson will have it from the 4. Jackson up the middle. Slowed down to the 25. And then brought down just short of the 30-yard line. First man there, Dave Ball, on special teams. A 26-yard return. Handoff to Marshawn Lynch. And Lynch is limited to a 2-yard gain. Senderick Marks there with Stephen Tulloch. Chris Johnson, the man of the hour. 2 rushing touchdowns for Johnson. He has given the Titans a 7-point lead under 10 minutes to go. Edwards in the pocket. Knocked down. At least the 3rd time today that a ball has been hit or deflected at the line of scrimmage. Marks, the rookie from Auburn, doing the honors.
And you know, even though they haven't had a ton of sacks, they're getting push up in the pocket. That's the big thing. They're getting, you see right there, it's hard for Trent Edwards to sit in there, trust the protection, and step up inside in that A-gap because he's getting so much push up in his face. A good job there by Senderick Marks.
They rotate these defensive linemen, and it's been very effective through the years for Tennessee. Shotgun formation. Edwards out of the pocket, and Edwards thrown down. William Hayes, very spry for a man 6'3", 272 pounds.
Well, they get the upfield pressure off the edge. It forces Trent Edwards to step back up inside right here. And now when he steps back upside, Hayes is right there to come off and make the stop. Well, that group up front today, I've taken notice. That defensive line of Tennessee has done a nice job pressuring Trent Edwards.
Titans with their 2nd sack of the afternoon, forcing the Bills to punt with Brian Moorman.
Well, not his best effort.
Alvin Pierman, he's got room from the 29. And Pierman across the 40, driven backwards, and they'll spot the football at the 41. A 43-yard punt, a 12-yard return. First 6 games of the season, the Titans averaged 14 points per game, allowed 33 points per game. They've got a 24-17 lead here. 9 minutes to go in the 4th. Pass over the middle. Chris Johnson catches, but could not break away from Brian Scott. Pass was a little offline, so Johnson was off balance. A 3-yard gain for Tennessee.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brian Scott has done a nice job today. As we mentioned earlier, Ryan, going from safety to linebacker in this defense. They actually said they met with him right up until kickoff. Really had to scale back the plan a little bit. And, the big thing was, they felt that both safeties were playing well. He was one of their better players. He's been trained here a little bit in the past in an emergency situation. They wanted to put their best athlete on the field, and that's why we're seeing Brian Scott.
2nd and 7. Johnson able to turn the corner. Not enough for a first down as Chris Draft, the veteran, came over to help make the play.
And that's what you want to do with Chris Johnson. You want to, that was designed to go up inside the tackle. You want to force him to the edge. Make sure you have good angles and pursuit. That's what they talked about all week defensively against Chris Johnson. Angles and pursuit. Force him to the boundary.
4-yard gain for Johnson. He's at 130 yards on the day. 3rd and 3 here for Tennessee. They are 9 of 13 on 3rd down conversions.
Boy, another screen.
Pump fake. Young. Out of bounds. Vince Young. Flag is thrown. Chris Kelsey was trying to keep Young from turning that corner. Penalty marker at the 43-yard line of Buffalo.
Boy, they were actually trying another screen there to the left side. Buffalo did a good job. Figured it out.
Prior to the quarterback leaving the pocket, illegal contact on the defense. 29. Since it was a run, that penalty will be tacked on. Automatic first down.
Well, you can see Drayton Florence there. So who was that on me? But that's where Vince Young, we've seen this a number of times today, and even going back the last 2 weeks, where a guy like Vince Young, they call the screen, they do a good job defending it, but you just can't account for his ability to pull it down and make some first downs with his legs.
And it allows Tennessee to use more clock, keep this drive alive on a handoff. Johnson sidesteps and makes a cut just short of the 40-yard line. Reggie cornered there defensively. 4-yard gain for Johnson. 2nd and 6 now for the Titans. And Johnson becoming more of a workhorse as well. You're going to ride the hot hand if you're Jeff Fisher, Mike Heimerdinger and company.
Yeah, and I asked Heimerdinger about whether he was worried at all about him wearing down. He said, not when this guy gets on a roll. We have to keep feeding him the rock. And the other thing is, he says his practice habits and his work habits are so much better that he is actually stronger sometimes in the 4th quarter.
2nd and 6 now. Bills press at the line. A handoff. And Johnson tippy-toes his way. Could not find an opening. A 2-yard gain for Johnson up the middle. Scott, who has been in on a lot of tackles here today, along with Posluszny. And it brings up 3rd and 4 now for the Titans.
This is a critical 3rd down. They can't allow this Tennessee team to get a first down here. They get in field goal range. And, you think about this Buffalo defense. They've been as good as anyone in the league the last 3 games at taking the ball away. They have 14 takeaways in the last 3 weeks, 10 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries. They have another one here today. This is how they've been in games. Their defense has been able to generate some turnovers and field position for the struggling offense.
Another big play for this Buffalo defense. Shotgun formation for Young.
Quarterback draw.
And Young looks for an opening. Flag is thrown as Vince Young is able to cross the 35. I think he came up just a little bit short of the first down. We'll see what the penalty marker is.
That should be offensive holding.
It was when Young was trying to get his footing.
Number 54, offense, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And 2nd penalty on Eugene Amano. So bring it back. Instead of a 3rd and 4, they're going to back it up.
Well, it's a huge penalty. That really helps the Bills, obviously. And
you know, we've seen some really creative playmaking, creative design by that guy right there, Mike Heimerdinger. We've seen the option, the quarterback draw. We saw a reverse, a lot of different things. They've really changed. Coming off of that bye week a couple weeks ago, they've really changed things up offensively to really take advantage of some of their playmakers.
Now a 3rd and 14 here for Tennessee. From the gun, screen over the middle. Johnson makes one man miss. Johnson makes another cut. And Chris Johnson accelerating. Incredible. He's like a joystick. 15 yards.
I'll tell you what, this is a great play. This is designed to go to Chris Johnson the whole way. I want you to keep an eye on the receivers downfield. They're going to come in here and block. And Chris Johnson's just going to sneak out and catch the ball. But watch, the receivers, they're going downfield to block. It's by design. They were trying to get the ball to Chris Johnson. They had the receivers go down the middle of the field and block. Just great design by Mike Heimerdinger and a big first down.
LenDale White comes in. White gets the carry and brought down quickly. Chris Johnson is officially over 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving, a combined 236 total yards for the Pro Bowler Chris Johnson and a pair of rushing touchdowns.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a great play. We used to call that 77 ram through. It was the first play in a 2-minute drive, and it was designed to get the tight end and the receiver to come across and block the safeties. And, you know, in that situation, I mean, it's just a great call to pick up a critical first down.
2nd and 8 now from the 31-yard line. Clock is moving. 4:17 and counting left in this 4th quarter. Handoff to White again. And LenDale White, more of a rugged runner, picks up just a yard, maybe a yard and a half.
Boy, they have the luxury of bringing in a guy like LenDale White. He's the bruiser. He's the guy. He's the finisher. He comes in late in games, and he can move piles, and he can rough up a defense. But that's the guy they want in there. This guy, he's got the hot hand right now. You have to keep feeding him the ball. He's one of these backs. The more carries he gets in a game, seems like the more production he generates. So that's what you got to do. Keep feeding Chris Johnson the ball.
Well, Perry Field, defensive coordinator for the Bills, told us they went back and looked at all the defensive plays this year. 4th quarter, they have run out of gas, and the numbers indicate it. Johnson.
Boy, another big stop, another holding penalty, huh?
Penalty flag thrown.
Boy, they're shooting themselves in the foot. You get yourself in field goal range, you can't take these penalties. You got to be smart. And this gets back to finishing teams off in the 4th quarter.
Well, this 10 yards is going to push them out of field goal range to make this a 2-possession game for Jeff Fisher. This is the last thing you needed.
Number 80, offense. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Boy, just giving them too many opportunities.
Boy, with 3:23 to go, at the very least, you figure
that penalty's been declined. 4th down.
Well, that's the other decision here for Buffalo.
Well, you got to try a field goal here, don't you? Your 51-yard field goal, maybe?
They're going to try it. And Dick Jauron is going to roll the dice that Barones cannot make one from 51 yards away.
Well, this is a kind of interesting decision here, you know what I mean? I think I would have taken him back.
Take the 10 yards and then trust that your defense can stop them.
Yeah, I mean, anything less than 10 yards. I mean, if they picked up 5 or 6, you'd still have a win. Now you give a guy like Barones a chance to make one from 51, and this is well within his range.
Pivotal attempt here from 51 yards away. Rob Barones.
Unbelievable.
He's got it. Tennessee leads by 10. The Titans with a 10-play drive, chewing up a lot of clock. And they now lead it 27-17 with 3:21 to go in the 4th quarter. 51-yard field goal for Rob Barones. And he kicks off to Fred Jackson. Mishandles it initially, able to recover. Jackson. And cut down at the 30-yard line, a 27-yard return. And flags come down. Little fake on the reverse by Jackson to Jenkins.
During the return, holding, number 57, return team. 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10, Buffalo.
And that's John Cordo called on the penalty.
Well, I'm a little surprised with that decision. You know, you're talking about one of the more accurate kickers in the game, Ian, and Barones. He had made 13 straight before he missed that 60-yarder right there at the half. But, I mean, to take that 10 yards and push him back, you know, Vince Young, not the best, most accurate passer in the game, and you think maybe your defense can go out there and get a stop.
Now down by 10, Edwards throwing, and incomplete over the head of Terrell Owens, who walked away frustrated.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really respect this guy as a player. I think he's had a tremendous career, but his body language to me is horrible. You watch him right down here at the bottom of the screen. Look, it's not a good throw, but just watch him at the end. That's not good. It sends a bad message to the quarterback. It sends a bad message to the rest of the guys on the team. And in that huddle, you got to be a leader. That's your job. They paid you a lot of money. You need to be a leader. You need to help this football team, not be a distraction.
Edwards, out route, incomplete. Same reaction from T.O.
And the other thing is he misses a lot of practice time. He didn't practice Wednesday and Thursday this week. He had an injury. He didn't practice on Fridays the last couple weeks. You talk about timing and rhythm in the passing game. You have a quarterback that's been on the shelf for a month. So I'm not surprised to see a little bit of miscommunication and some missed throws in terms of the timing and the rhythm of the passing game. You see him right here, and he's frustrated right now, clearly. He's running some good routes. He's worked hard. He's not getting his catches, but you got to find a way to fight through it.
Edwards picked off, and a pick six. Vincent Fuller untouched into the end zone. Good night.
Boy, and these safeties, they were sitting. Vince Fuller, the nickel, he was sitting on this one the whole time. He was reading the quarterback's eyes. He did a great job driving on that throw.
And a flag on the play.
The score does count. After the score, personal foul, number 93, Tennessee. That penalty will be assessed on the ensuing kickoff.
Kyle Vanden Bosch. It does not negate the Vincent Fuller interception for a touchdown. And you could just feel this building, Rich.
Yeah, it was just sitting there waiting. And, well, that guy has really made a difference for this defense since he's come back from an arm injury. And he does so much in that nickel package and really has allowed them to do so many different things defensively because he's healthy again. To play nickel in this defense, you have to be a jack of all trades, and that's exactly what Vince Fuller is.
Rob Barones with the extra point. Rob Barones has to kick it off from the 15 after the penalty on Vanden Bosch. Jackson returning from the 19 for Buffalo. And Jackson down the sideline and out of bounds out near midfield. Good return for Fred Jackson with 2:47 to go in the fourth. And now Ryan Fitzpatrick, who started back-to-back games for Edwards when he went down with the concussion, he is going to get his opportunity to run this Buffalo offense for the final 2:47.
I'm curious about this decision. If it's a question of Dick Jauron not wanting to take a chance with a guy like Trent Edwards late in the game, or he's actually thinking about going in a different direction. I can't imagine. Here's a guy that you know, is making his first start today, Ian, as you said, going back probably been a month now. Missed the last 3 games, and no surprise here.
Next up for the Bills, they will be at Jacksonville next week. Screen pass for Marshawn Lynch. And Lynch will pick up a yard out to midfield. Keith Bulluck there defensively, and a flag down. There's been a lot of chatter and some pushing throughout the day. 2:35 left to go in this fourth quarter. 9 penalties today against Buffalo, 7 called against Tennessee. And for Trent Edwards, not the way he visualized his return for the Bills.
Well, you know what? We talked earlier about the fact that his growth and development as a quarterback has been hampered. You know, he hasn't been able to stay on the field. The concussions, the groin injury last year. The other thing is...
There are 2 fouls on the play after the play ended. Therefore, the down will count. Personal foul, number 37 of the defense. Personal foul, 68 of the offense. They will offset at the succeeding spot.
Seth McKinney.
And Rod Hood called on Tennessee. So for the Bills, they'll drop to 3-6 on the season at Jacksonville. Back-to-back divisional games against Miami and the Jets before hitting the road again to take on Kansas City. They have not been to the playoffs this decade. Their last playoff appearance, the Music City Miracle. Fitzpatrick throwing. Incomplete.
Boy, we've seen a number of balls batted today by this defensive line, and I think they've done a great job getting pushed up the field. You see Jason Jones right there. They've made it very difficult for both of these quarterbacks to find throwing lanes.
Well, for the Tennessee Titans, a chance to salvage their season. They'll improve to 3-6 after opening 0-6. They are at Houston next week, and then home for Arizona and at Indianapolis. Very challenging 3 weeks coming up.
Keep an eye on this football team the second half of the season. They're going to be very disruptive. They're going to hurt some teams. They're going to be a very tough out.
Fitzpatrick throwing.
Ugly.
Long ball. Same team. And Finnegan and Griffin know it. Should have been an easy pick. T.O. was the intended receiver.
And those are the kind of throws we always say you don't want to put on tape. You don't want to put on film. It's called late down the middle. You talk about cover three. You talk about what cover three is. It's when three of their guys are around one of yours. Look at that. Three different guys in the area. You can't make those throws. Even if it's late in the game, you have to be smart. And more importantly, you can't put your receivers in those type of situations. That's how they get knocked out.
Does that count as a pass breakup for Finnegan when he breaks it up against his teammate? Fourth down, flags down, and this play never happens.
Number 67. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
Now it's just ending ugly for the Buffalo Bills, who had played well through 3 quarters.
That's sloppy, and it's not good. You know, I'm surprised coming off the bye week. You thought they'd maybe have a chance to clean some things up, particularly offensively, and it's just been, you look at the penalties today, 10 penalties for the Buffalo Bills. 10 penalties, a number of them, a majority of them coming from that offensive line.
5 false starts against the Bills today. Fourth down, 14. Fitzpatrick throwing on the move and dropped. Lee Evans.
And how apropos. You know, one of your better players, and you can just see the frustration from some of these players like Lee Evans and T.O. and Trent Edwards. We put a lot of time into this thing. A lot of work goes into these games each and every week, and to come out here and to have this type of performance is very disappointing.
And also the fact, Rich, that it's not just this year for Buffalo. They have ranked in the bottom 8 in yards per game each of the last 6 years offensively.
Well, there's a reason why they've had a number of different coordinators. You know, you talk about the fact that Trent Edwards has had a difficult time. Well, listen, you go back his first year, it was Steve Fairchild. Last year, it was Turk Schoner. This year, it's Alex Van Pelt. That's a recipe for a disaster if you're a quarterback in this league.
Hand off to Chris Johnson, first man in franchise history to go over 100 yards rushing and 100 or more yards receiving in the same game. Buffalo Bills will fall to 3-6 with a loss here in Nashville. 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Hand off to Chris Johnson, and Johnson will be whistled down by Chris Draft. Bills come up with a football. Play had already been whistled dead as George Wilson runs down the field. 3rd and 11 now. Stutter step move, and Johnson is hit hard by Spencer Johnson. Not really sure why you would even have Chris Johnson in the game at this juncture. 1:46 left. Tennessee couldn't get a first down, so Brett Kern will punt it. And Fred Jackson standing at his own 9-yard line. End over end. Jackson fields right at the 9. Trying to cut it to the outside. And Jackson touched up as he veered out of bounds. An 8-yard return, a 36-yard punt. And Fitzpatrick will once again come on the field for this Buffalo offense with 1:34 remaining here in the fourth.
I'll tell you, I really like Fred Jackson. Fred Jackson could play in my team any day. He just does so much for this football team. He'll do whatever you ask him. If it's third down packages, if it's running the ball, if it's returning kicks, punts, he'll do whatever it takes. I just think he's a good, solid football player for this team.
Well, today they asked him to throw the ball, and he threw a touchdown.
Yeah, whatever it takes. And you can't have enough players like that in your huddle. Very unselfish player. Willing to do the little things. Willing to go in there and block for Marshawn Lynch. A good football player right there, Fred Jackson.
I'll spread the field here for Fitzpatrick on a 1st and 10 at the 18. Fitzpatrick throws, little floater. Who's got it? The Bills do. Josh Reed coming down with the football. Keith Bulluck came over, was scraping for it.
You know, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's not the tallest guy, and you can see that pressure and that push up the middle is hard for a guy like this. Just 6'2", and to sit in there, it's hard to see over those big offensive linemen. Even more difficult when you have a big defensive line with their hands up in front of your face.
4th-year pro from Harvard fires over the middle, and it's incomplete. Reed, the intended receiver. Vince Young, 3-0 since taking over as the starting quarterback, replacing Kerry Collins. Young today, 17 of 25, 210 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Fitzpatrick, intercepted, picked off by Rod Hood. Touchdown, Titans. Through the hands of T.O.
I don't know if T.O. ever saw this one. This one came out of the right out of the line of scrimmage. I don't know if he ever saw this one until it was too late, but clearly it went right through his hands, and Rod Hood was right there for the interception. Wow. That really kind of sums up the day that T.O. and this Buffalo offense have had. Yeah, a little high. Still a catch, a ball that he should catch. Boy, just an ugly 4th quarter here for the Buffalo offense.
Extra point, Baronis. Titans pouring it on, 41-17, with a couple of defensive touchdowns for Tennessee. 3rd straight game with an interception for Rod Hood, who started in the Super Bowl for Arizona, then was cut loose. Couldn't latch on with Chicago or Cleveland. Anybody could have had Rod Hood. He was available, and the Titans were fortunate to get him. For T.O. and for the Bills, there's no way to sugarcoat it. They've got major problems right now in Buffalo.
And the only way I know to fix it, Ian, is to go back to the drawing board, continue to work hard. But this guy right here, it amazes me. You mentioned the fact that he wasn't able to catch on with Cleveland. How can this guy, Rod Hood, not make the Cleveland Browns football team? That's a bad defense. This guy is a good player. And when I talked with Chuck Cecil, defensive coordinator, he said there's absolutely no reason why this guy was on the street. He has come in. He has been a real playmaker for us, and it's allowed us to do a lot of different things in that secondary. We don't worry about him. We put him over there on some of the best receivers. He locks down, and he shuts them down. He's had a great day today against T.O.
Now, I'm not sure you would remember, or anybody would, but with 11 minutes to play, this game was tied at 17.
Yeah, I don't even remember that. I mean, that's how this game has gotten out of control here late in the 4th quarter.
It's 24 unanswered points for the Titans, as Justin Jenkins is the return man now for Buffalo from the 5.
That can happen when you score twice on defense.
And Jenkins, big stick by Craig Stevens.
You see some frustration out there. Well, the only thing Buffalo can do, Ian, is go back to Buffalo and just continue to work at it. There's no easy fixes in this business, and you just have to keep digging, keep trying, keep working hard, and that's the only thing you can do. A guy like Trent Edwards, it wasn't a perfect day for him, but you know, he came out, and that's what happens sometimes when you have a layoff like that. When you've been out of the game for, you know, haven't played in a month, that's hard, and that guy right there has got a lot of work ahead of him.
46 seconds left. Came down to a decision by Dick Jauron. Does he accept the penalty and put the Titans back 10 yards, put them out of field goal range? He elected to let them kick the field goal 51 yards as Jackson carries it across the 30. Baronis makes it. That extended the Tennessee lead to 10 points, and since then it has been all downhill. 28 seconds remaining.
Right now you got a lot of the young players on the field. You got Steve Johnson out there and Justin Jenkins. And
at this point, they're just going to run out the clock on themselves. Jackson breaking a tackle. And a flag down. He got pulled from behind.
Keith Bulluck.
10 seconds left.
Personal foul, horse collar type tackle, number 22 defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
It was actually 53.
Chris Johnson, 132 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving. Pair of touchdowns on the ground for Johnson.
Have we updated where he's at in terms of his pace? I know he's on pace for 1,918 yards, which would come up just short of Hall of Fame Earl Campbell's franchise record of 1,934 yards in 1980. But what a great day for Chris Johnson, this offensive line, and this Tennessee offense.
The Titans win their third in a row.